Jeff, could you describe your situation before the blocks, your past history, injuries, and your activity level?
Between the weights, the cardio, and the yoga, everything was staying in check. So no pain, no mobility issues. And about a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with cervical spinal stenosis, which is a tightening of the spine in the neck area. And that was producing shoulder pain and some leg pain. And that was all before I was introduced to the blocks.
What level of discomfort would you say your issue was before the blocks?
With the spinal stenosis and pain in the shoulders and also some carpal tunnel issues, I would have days where I would say they were 9 out of 10. So 10 being the worst, I had days that were 9 or 9 plus. So I've got a fairly high tolerance to pain. So even on a best day, they were probably 6 or 7.
How long did it take you to notice a difference with them?
So the first session, I can recall the first session I went through. So I started off, kind of crawling and then walking and then running with them in terms of, time I would spend with them and intensity. But from the very first session and, perhaps 15 or 20 minutes, you notice some difference because you're just focusing on engaging, certain parts of your musculature. And when you do that for a certain period of time, there's almost immediate benefit from that. So anybody that's worked out with weights, anybody that's done calisthenics knows that, a little bit can sometimes go a long way. So I would say I noticed something, very quickly, very early on.
How long did it take you to feel a new normal?
I would say weeks. So I would say for the first 4 or 5 weeks, I was working with the blocks religiously. So I had a routine that I would go through every day, and it was probably a good 20 minutes or so of routine of working with the blocks and going through different exercises, focusing on different parts of the body, whether it was shoulders, whether it was chest, whether it was biceps, triceps, engaging the core, engaging the legs. And that takes some practice. Practice, physically, but also just mentally. You've got to be, at least for me, I had to be mentally engaged. You really need to think about it in terms of what you're engaging and for what period of time and at what level of intensity. So I would say probably took a good 3 or 4 weeks before I really felt like not only was I mastering the use of the blocks and the activities, but feeling like I was starting to maximize the benefits where I felt a little bit more mobility in the shoulders, a little bit less pain, a little bit less discomfort. Didn't all go away, but I noticed that it had a positive impact on some of the symptoms that I was experiencing.
For the issue that you described, what other things did you try to alleviate the discomfort before doing the blocks?
Well, I went to 25 sessions with a physical therapist. And I got some back work done, some massage work. I work with how would I describe this, like a styrofoam roller that was cut in half, so I'd put that on the floor and just lay on that and do some exercises with that. I worked with him with a non-electric machine that stretched out your neck. You lay on the ground and you did that. And I did 4 what they call epidurals. So I had 4 cervical epidurals over the course of about a year and a half or so. And for the first 3, I got some short-term relief, which I designate as about maybe 7 to 8 weeks of relief. The last one I had, which was July of last year, seems to have taken root a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. So I don't know, it's speculation in terms of maybe the epidural, the cortisone shot, plus working with the blocks, plus some other things I do to stay active. It may have been something that all worked together to make me, at least as of today, symptom free.
In your opinion, who would you recommend the blocks to?
Certainly anybody that has any physical issues. So if one is experiencing pain or somebody's experiencing some mobility issues, I would think the blocks would be great for them, to address that. Somebody that's looking for another activity to augment whatever it is they're doing to stay in shape, whether it's strength training, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's yoga. My opinion is the blocks would be another activity that could be layered on and integrated with that to create a more holistic and more complete workout. So I can't think of anybody where they wouldn't have some level of benefit from at least attempting, to use the blocks. There's a number of benefits that come from it: physical, psychological, and I would say even to some degree emotional. And those are all tied in.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jeff.
You're welcome.